because it takes balls and dedication to your job as the chief executive of this country to put everything in order and in place.
Of Makati. Good evening, Pastor. What can you say about the oligarchs in this country and how President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is treating them? How is he treating them, please?
Well, I think our president was put by God into a place like where he is right now to deal with this social pandemic. It's not the COVID-19, but a social pandemic of the financial status of our country. So, what can I say about the oligarchs? They have their own reckoning right now. And how is PRD treating them? Treating them the way they should be treated right now. They should not use their influence to disobey our laws, and that they should not make so much money out of the misery of the people and out of deception of whatever it is that they are doing. They should pay the right taxes to the government, especially them who are raking in billions and trillions of money that our government needs for those taxes to really be paid and for them to really put in place all of their operations according to the law, because no one is above the law. So for me, what our President PRRD is doing is very heroic, because it takes balls and dedication to your job as the chief executive of this country to put everything in order and in place. And it takes, as I said, balls for our president to put them into their own place. They're not above the law of the country. They're not above the country. They cannot say we are more powerful than the country. They cannot say that, because the only sovereign here is our country. And our president is supposed to be the one to implement the laws of this country. So she was putting them in place. For me, it's heroic. That's why I was asked about the first 5 Filipinos whom I consider great. So if I look at them, let's look at the presidents of the Philippines, from these heroes that we have in the 1800s, 1900s that, you know, started the revolution, and the presidents succeeding them in the birth of our republic, and those that are living now, and those that have died and what they have done. I look at the deeds that they have done that are heroic. You may be great, but you will not be heroic if you did not do heroic things. Jose Rizal, our national hero, did one heroic thing in opening the thinking of the Filipinos by writing Noli Me Tangere, El Filibusterismo, you know, and exposing the corruption of the friars and the Spaniards who dominated us for 400 years. But that is all that he has done. But in these modern times, to be able to have a collision course with the oligarchs who are holding the power of the economy is heroic. And to put them into their own place and let them be subject to the laws and pay the right taxes is heroic. And to let them, to warn them and say, in 1 week you must pay your taxes or else, you know, that's heroic for me. To have head-on collision with drug, I know, cartels in the Philippines. May I call them drug lords or drug cartels? I don't have, we already have cartels in the Philippines, but we have drug lords who are supervising the proliferation of drugs in the Philippines. That is very hard to suppress or to eliminate. But he had a head-on collision with this syndicates, which endanger his life, the life of his family. And besides that, the annoyance of these human rights groups who do not see the social pandemic that these drugs are doing to our country and look at those victims that they have. Instead of being on side of the victims of drugs, they are even siding with the drug lords and those who are committing these crimes. And for a president to be afraid to make a collision course with this pandemic, it's more than COVID-19. If it were not for him, maybe our country is now a narco country, and our politicians are becoming narco politicians, and we have narco politics. So it's so timely that he became the president of this country to head on with this. These are two pandemics in the country that needs to be solved, and previous administrations were not able to do that, and many more, and he has done more. Corruption in government. He said in his last SONA that I found out that the enemy is the government, is those in the government. To head on with that and to be involved in all of this, it's very easy for you to be tempted when you're president to amass this great wealth that are being offered you. But in spite of the fact that he is there, never involved himself in that. And I know him for the many years that he was mayor of Davao City. Never involved in corruption. Not dirtying himself with government coffers and money. Put it where. You can accuse him of anything but not corruption. And all of this, trying to put in line a simple life, to be an example, to be a public servant. That's heroic, very, very heroic, especially in these modern times where corruption is like encouraged already. So many more, I can talk to you about it. So it's so timely that our president became the president this time. And he may not like what I will say. Our president may not like what I may say, because he's not really averse with power. In fact, he's just using the power that be because he's there, but he's averse of power. He may not like what I will say because, as I said, he's averse to power. If it were me that will be obeyed, or the Filipino people, I would like him to be president for life. Like Putin was made president up to 2036 because they saw that, all the presidency is doing good. And the president of China for life. If it were me that must be obeyed, I would like for someone like him to rule this country until he is alive, because it's seldom that we can find someone of his caliber, a heroic president. So if it were me also, in the books of our country, to be studied in schools, let's put this kind of an individual in the hall of heroes, of Philippine heroes who have done so much for their country. If it were me, because I do not look at the person personally. I look at their job, what they are doing, because a man is not rewarded by his words, but he's rewarded by his deeds. So look at the track record. Look at the effects of what he's doing for our country. And